Hi, I'm Anthony from Sydney Backyard Veggies. I'm just out in the patch this morning over at my jalapenos. We're in late summer now, and I find that my jalapeno crop does really well at this stage. They do produce fast, and they do produce large quantities of really good fruit. I'm going to try to see if I could do a bit of work on them this morning just to make them last a bit longer. I'm trying to extend their production all the way to at least May. First thing I'm going to do is come through and harvest these plants, and then I'm going to come through and work on staking them properly and add in fertilizer to see if I could get a couple of flushes between now until winter sets in. So just coming over to my jalapenos, this is my crop that I planted out as seedlings in late September. Now this variety is called Jedi. Started the seeds off in mid-July. And I've got 10 plants planted in this spot. They were planted in rows 60 centimeters apart and 40 centimeters apart within the rows. Now this variety, Jedi, I like to say, is one of my go-to varieties, and it does put out a really big sized jalapeno. So if you do look for one that you want to use for stuffing, to make jalapeno poppers or the like, this is the one to go with. I had been struggling a bit with fruit fly damage, and so I haven't been really picking them over the last few weeks, but now I'm going to come through and do a full harvest. I'm going to come through, the idea is to come through to trick the plants to do one final flush of flower. So if I harvest all the mature fruit, it will encourage the plants to put on new flowers and probably be able to get one to two last harvests between now and the start of winter. So I'm going to come through, harvest what I can off this crop, and then we'll see what I can get, and then I'll look at how I'm going to maintain these plants and add the fertilizer. So just going to come through now and harvest it, and what I'm still finding is some of these ones are still being impacted by fruit flies, as you can see there. So anything damaged like this, where it looks like it's a bit mushy on the inside, where the stem goes yellow, that's a sign that has fruit fly damage. But I'm happy to say, as we move in later into the season, I'm seeing a lot less damaged fruit. But to stop spread of fruit flies in your garden, any rotting fruit or any fruit that's impacted, either bin it or feed it to the chickens in my case. I'm going to come through and just start harvesting, and what you're finding is there's a lot of really good fruit showing up. So really good size. These ones are clean, these ones haven't got any damage, so I'm going to come through. But yeah, a couple of ones here which have got the yellow stems, these will get binned. These are, there you go, these ones here, sure sign of insect damage, fruit fly damage. Continue on. Just as the jalapeno ripens, it starts getting these serrations on it, and that's actually quite desirable with jalapenos. I find it comes up really well when you pickle them. So, and the color actually really having it red. I don't know if it'll get hotter, but they do put a bit of extra color in your pickles. So just coming through this section, and there's a lot of good looking fruit here. Some of it looks, this one's damaged, so this one will get thrown out, but these ones look pretty good. Continue on. I'd look for fruit that's filled out. Looks, you know, I'm happy to harvest them green. Yeah, when they go red, they're definitely ready to go. But anything that's really filled out, something like that, it just looks like it's starting to bulk up. Even that one, starting to bulk up, ready to go. Those are the kind of jalapenos I'm looking for. You can really pick them at any stage. Like, I have pickled smaller ones, but I find the best value is when you get them at that size and just a bit bigger than that. So I just finished off harvesting those jalapenos and got a big basket full. They're looking really good. I did find a lot more than I hoped, fruit that was diseased, but the new fruit seems to be looking quite clean, and I think that, yeah, fruit fly season has now passed us here in Sydney. I'm going to turn these into cowboy candies, and I might also share some with my neighbours. It's starting to warm up really fast here in my patch, so I'm going to come back later on this afternoon and start looking at doing some fertilizing and staking those plants, and I'll bring you through and show you what I'm doing there. So I've come back to my jalapenos. It got quite hot yesterday, so I couldn't do much more work in the patch. So I'm over there here now to come through and stake and support these plants. They've actually grown quite big over the past 4 to 5 months, and they're actually starting to lean across. So I'm going to come through and add a lot more timber supports, really support those plants at the key branches. Then I come through and add my fertilizer, but I'll take you closer and I'll show you how I'm going to come about supporting these plants. So I'm over at the first plant, and as you can see, the jalapeno plant's got quite big and it's actually starting to lean a bit. You can see that root ball is starting to move a lot around the base. So what I'm going to do is put a stake, say in this location here, just to the left of the irrigation line, and actually strap that plant across. So bring in my stake and normally this location, and knocking it in with my mallet. Now, making sure the plant's adequately supported, I'm going to bring the plant forward, straighten up the plant so you can just see that right now, and then using some ties, just tying it back to that stake. This should hold it up quite well for now. There you go, looks quite well supported now. So at this late season, we're coming into the start of March, I like to do one more addition of fertilizer now and try to get that last flush of flowers coming through. So I'm going to be adding chicken manure pellets, dynamic lifter, to give it just a little bit of nitrogen. Not wanting to go too hard with the nitrogen on these plants, but with chicken manure pellets, they're at about 4%, which is quite appropriate. It's got a fair bit of phosphorus and potash in it too, but capsicums like tomatoes and all the other plants really do well with a lot of potash. So I will also be supplementing that chicken manure pellets with a small handful of potash. I did fertilize these 8 weeks ago, and it's about time I added another round of fertilizer. So I'm going to come through, just add a little bit to each of the plants, and then get the irrigation onto them. So coming through, just going to add just a small pour of, actually just put a little bit more of chicken manure pellets. That's probably enough for there, and then it's another small handful of potash. I find that's fine, it's enough. And then I'm going to continue on, get the irrigation on them a bit later, just to really start breaking that down. And as I'm going through the plants and staking them, I will be adding the same mix to each of the plants. So continue through, still got another 9 plants to stake and fertilize. So I just finished off all my work on these jalapenos, and I'm hoping that this will be enough for me to see that 1 or 2 last flushes come through before I will retire these plants. Still seeing a fair bit of damage from the fruit fly, so I went through before and actually got rid of a lot more of the fruit. But I'm hoping from here on in until May, when the plants will stop producing, I should get some fairly clean fruit coming off the plants. Now I am looking at potentially keeping 1 row of plants overwintered and see if I can get it to start producing in early spring, and I'll keep you posted on that. But that's been a good season with the jalapenos. Just need to find a solution for fruit flies, but besides that, I've got my year's worth of pickles in my fridge, and yeah, it's been a great crop. The variety is called Jedi, and it's actually a really good one to grow. So I'll start my seedlings, it's still early, but I'll start my next round of seedlings in mid-July. But besides that, happy they're done. Just going to move over to my tomatoes now and do some work over there. Over at my tomatoes, and I gave a bit of an update last video of where they were at. We were just starting to blush, but now I've come over. It's been about 4 days since that last video was done, and these tomatoes are now ready to go. I'm getting both my ox hearts and also my Roma tomatoes are all ready to go. So I'm going to come through and do a bit of a harvest, but then I'm also going to come and do a bit of a cleanup and sort out these tomatoes. They are starting to look a bit worse for wear, especially around with the blight that's starting to come through the plants. But first of all, I'm going to come through and harvest what I can from this crop. So coming over to my ox hearts, and I've got the 2 tomatoes. I'm just going to using my snippers. There you go. That's my first tomato from my second crop. Now this up top here is just some general scarring as the tomato grows, so it's not a big deal. I'll just come and cut the top off that before I eat it. But besides that, it looks quite clean. No obvious sign of insect damage. But I've got the second one I need to harvest as well, and I think this one is actually just a little bit better in the sense that, again, it's still got that kind of scarring at the top, but no big deal. That will just be cleaned off, just cut, and I'll use the rest of the tomato. So I've got those 2 now. I'm just going to come over and show you my Romas. Come over to my Romas, and again I've got a number of really good looking fruit forming here, ripening here at the moment. So I'm just going to harvest. Now these tomatoes have been struggling with spider mites, so a lot of this damage that you see here is just a little bit of spider mite damage, but look, they're perfectly fine to eat. They're really happy to start harvesting. I've still got a third one in here. I might get that one as well. So that's the third one that I've harvested. That's really good. There's a few other ones that have just started to blush, which I'm going to get onto as well. Just these 2 that have just started blushing. I do like to harvest my tomatoes as they start blushing personally. I like to get them off the plant. Just gives the plant more opportunities to grow out the rest of the tomatoes, but at the same time not to get any insect damage from them. So they look really good. So I think there might be just 1 or 2 more tomatoes I'm going to pick, and I'm going to go through and get those, and then I'll show you my haul. So I just finished harvesting those tomatoes and cucumbers, and that's my haul. You just see that. I've got some really nice tomatoes. I'm really impressed with the quality of the Roma tomatoes. Now look, these are late season. Some are veggies. They're not going to be the prettiest, but happy to supplement my veggie harvest with late season tomatoes, cucumbers, especially cucumbers. We've been growing cucumbers since September, and I haven't had to buy cucumbers since mid to late October. So having a constant supply of cucumbers from a patch has been really rewarding, and the kids absolutely love it. Tomatoes, now that they're on, we'll be eating them fresh, but I'm hoping that there's a bit of a glut that comes through, and I'll be able to make a few more sauces to supplement the 50 or so bottles of sauce that I've made so far. I'm going to go now and do a bit of work on the tomatoes. There's a bit of blight coming through and a bit of other diseases, but I'll show you what it is, and I'll come through and might do my light prune, give them a light prune this afternoon. So we'll go over to that right now. So coming over to the tomatoes, and you can see this is my indeterminate Roma. Now I have been pruning progressively as it comes up, and I have been treating for spider mites, but as you can see, especially on the lower leaves, they're starting to get that blight coming through. And look, it's expected this late in the season. I am looking at needing to have to stake these tomatoes a little bit more. They are getting quite big, but I'm hoping that I can still push them to grow out these flowers. Just come through, just clean up a lot of that dead and damaged leaves and diseased leaves, and I'll stake them. Now I would normally follow these up with a spray of wettable sulfur, but it's going to be a 40-degree day tomorrow. This late in February, it's still going to get some really hot days, so probably going to hold off the sprays because the heat and the sprays don't mix. They tend to burn the plants, but definitely going to come through and clean them. Now looking at my ox hearts, the issue that I can see is, you can see there's a slight, if you can get, I'm not sure that reads in the camera, but you can see it's just starting to give a little bit of a dull bronzy look, and that's evidence of spider mites. They suck the chlorophyll out of the plants. So keeping up the sprays, I think I may have controlled them in the last spray, but just keeping up the sulfur sprays to kill those spider mites will be good. I am also getting a little bit of blight showing through here. That's fine. These aren't going to do as well. They do have some fresh flowers coming through, but I'm seeing a lot of the flowers are bought. But look, I'm just happy to take the fruit off what they are producing at the moment. I'm going to come through, do the prune, clean them up, stake a lot of these plants, and I'll show you the end. So just coming through these plants, I'm just going to remove a lot of those damaged leaves. Any leaves that show sign of disease. Just over here. Now I try to bin these straight away after I prune them, so I'll do that later, but clearing them out like that, that's really going to help keep the disease at bay. I'm going to come through now and start staking. So I'm just back out the tomatoes, and I just wanted to show you how they looked once I finished off pruning and restaking those tomatoes. Got rid of a lot of that damaged leaves. It's been a couple of days since I've done that now, and what I'm finding is that the disease is still spreading, so I'm just maintaining it constantly with a bit of pruning. Look, I could be spraying with some copper and some wettable sulfur sprays to really control that, but we're coming to that end of that season. You know, tomatoes, I'm not expecting them to do much more between now and autumn, so I'm going to let them be, and I'm just going to harvest what I can at the moment, and then in about 3 weeks time move these tomatoes on. But if you wanted to try to extend your tomatoes over at least the next month, 6 weeks, constantly pruning the diseased leaves and giving them a bit of a copper spray really would help prolong them. But I'm going to take the fruit off these now over the next couple of weeks, and hopefully clear this space up for a bit of snow peas here on the right, and just a few more brassicas to the left of the row. And, before I wrap up this video, just wanted to show everyone my next round of seedlings, which I should be planting out in the next few days. On the left here I've got my broccoli, my next planted broccoli. The variety is Aurora, and on the right hand side this is my first planting of cabbage. The variety is called Serenity. These were planted about 3 weeks ago, and I generally like to plant them out when they're on that second true leaf, which you've just got right there, as you can see. So over the next few days I'm going to be continue clearing some of the old summer crops, and I'm going to start planting out the broccoli and the other brassica seedlings. These will be going where the corn is at the moment, so I'm just waiting for those to be harvested. They should be harvested next week. Just going on the theme of seedlings, this is my first round of 1-box seedlings. They should be ready to plant out in about another week or so. I've also got a little bit of purple cauliflower seedlings. This is my second round of cauliflower. This is my purple cabbage, and then finally I've got my third round of broccoli seedlings, and also my pak choy seedlings, which I will interplant in between the other brassicas, and I will show videos later on in March as to how I go about planting these out. Look, thank you very much everyone for joining me in today's video. I really appreciate all the support, and I hope to see you in the next one.